Well, hello. What an entrance we got there.
I know. Great.
Well,
I feel
welcome.
very, very welcome.
Oh, yes. Well, welcome to both of you and to everyone else that is joining us to this Purple Ivy Brown Bag Lunch Series. Well, I am very excited. This is going to be super, super fun. I am Christina Ameln. I work at Purple Ivy as a sustainability strategist and advisor. Purple Ivy works with companies by future-proofing their business and integrating sustainability deeper into their organizations. I am doubly excited because we have you rock stars, Annika Ramsköld from Vattenfall and my dear colleague Eva Normell from Purple Ivy.
Thank you.
Super excited.
Thank you.
Super excited.
Rock star.
Yeah, exactly. Not every day, huh?
I always think that when you work in sustainability, you need to have that rock star sustainability title handed out to you sometimes.
From now on, everyone will use it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So just as a reminder, the focus today is how integration takes shape and sustainability becomes part of business. Funny enough, though, the first question is actually to me. I think the first question that I've got is, what is a brown bag? So to be fair to everyone and to make sure that I was saying this correctly, I did a little search and it comes back is that a brown bag is a meeting, an informal meeting usually held in the workplace around lunchtime. And as many of us have a different kind of workplace and many of us are working from home, we decided to take this brown bag concept online so that you that are joining us hopefully will have a little bit more of a scintillating lunchtime and get the opportunity to chat and to listen on topics such as sustainability and integration. So we're going to start, but one little house rule, is not a house rule actually, but do ask your questions. Don't be shy. Don't wait till the end. Do ask them in the comment section. We will try to plow through them in this session, and we look forward to them. So while this is a very casual conversation, I will do a little formal introduction, and I will start with my colleague Eva Normell. So Eva is the partner and founder of Purple Ivy. And I'll step one back. Both of you have amazing bios and such an illustrious careers, but I will let that be for those stalking you on LinkedIn. So my question to both of you were really, what were your drivers? And Eva, she loves, I have my cheat notes here. Eva loves to turn business as usual on its head to find innovative ways of working. She enjoys challenging organizations and individuals to develop and grow and knows how to help companies align with changing expectations, connecting sustainability to value creation and strategy, and finding tools that create momentum. Did I capture this correctly, Eva?
It sounds very formal in this very casual meeting, but yeah. Thank you.
I will do a little other formal introduction for Annika as well. So Annika Ramsköld, Head of Sustainability for Vattenfall. And for those that are joining us internationally, Vattenfall in Swedish means waterfall in English. And Vattenfall is one of Europe's largest producers and retailers of electricity and heat. They are determined to enable fossil-free living within one generation. So with sustainability is fully integrated in the business. This means that there are no separate sustainability strategy or targets. Instead, Vattenfall's business strategy is sustainable. Or as Vattenfall states, sustainability is the business. So again, we did a sneak question in before this lunch session and asked Annika prior to the call why this area was of interest for her. Well, Annika loves driving change by engaging and inspiring and to encourage smart choices that will safeguard so that both the planet and we as humans thrive. In her words, we're never too small or too few to act. We can all contribute to a better world by daring to challenge and act. And I hope I've captured that correctly, Annika.
That was also very correctly captured, but it sounds almost pompous in the way. But it is very much the way I see it, though.
Oh, and I think that's really wonderful. But while I have you first speaking, I was hoping that you could kick off by elaborating further what integration and sustainability means to you. And I'm going to move you at the same time to the big screen. So let's hope that technology works. Yes, it does. So the question, the platform is yours.
Okay, thank you. And also technology has not been working fully to me. So that's why you have me on the mobile right now. And hopefully that still works. But you almost captured it when you did the introduction of Vattenfall, because to me, integration means really that there is no separate process and targets and responsibilities related to sustainability, but instead it is the responsibility of the business as such. So it's the board, it's the business, it's the executive group management that should manage sustainability, and they should do that in the same way as they manage financial issues. And I think, just to illustrate, I think the turning point for Vattenfall was pretty much 6 years back, when we decided to throw out the sustainability strategy and targets and really flip the coin and said that sustainability is the starting point for everything we do. And that's how sustainability became sort of the business. So to really check if sustainability is integrated, I think you need to see how a company is setting their targets to show that they are progressing towards the strategy. And if those targets then are sustainability related, then you know that sustainability is integrated. But if it's only more or less financial targets, then you don't have sustainability there. So just using Vattenfall then, I would say it means for us that we have reduced CO2 emissions, we should increase renewable capacity, we need to have engaged employees, we need to safeguard the health of people, we need to ensure that the customers feel that they get what they want. Those are our strategic targets, and then you know that it's there. But maybe to add one more thing on sustainability, I think the key to all of this is the responsibility. So you have to secure that the responsibility is not on the head of sustainability to ensure that sustainability is there. It is on the agenda for the board, for the executive group management and the business. They own the sort of the responsibility to capture the opportunities and handle the risks.
Can you mentioned at the beginning, while you were talking about integration and sustainability, this was a journey that you started 6 years ago. Along the way with the 6-year journey, how have you progressed with, let's say, the naysayers that have come along? Because even when you do that change, how do you work with those that say categorically maybe no to working on these topics of integration and sustainability?
Well, I think you need to secure that you have the board on board, the CEO and the top executive management. They need to be part of it, and then you need to walk the talk. So I mean, if you say that you integrate it, you need to also live with it. But I think one key lever was, like I said, we put it into our instructions that it is the responsibility of the business to run this. Then the sustainability function with me and my team, we're there to support the business and guide them and take them by the hand and show them how to do it.
And Eva, when we're talking about guidance, can you talk a little bit guidance of those companies or the difference between companies that are on the journey like Vattenfall that have understood this integration part versus companies that have not understood or are not quite clear on the integrating? So put it simply, what's the difference between a company, Vattenfall, integration, and company out there without integration?
Yeah, but I agree with what definitely I think Annika explained it in a very good way, because the difference between integrating and not integrated is mostly clearly seen in how sustainability is governed and who is responsible for delivering it, and also how much focus is given to driving the change. I was thinking a week ago, we had a meeting with a company, and the person responsible for sustainability said something like, well, everything you tell us is so interesting and important, and it sounds good, but can you persuade our top management to take this, the cost for this? And so the thing is, to be able to integrate, the top management needs to see the value, not the cost. So we see that more and more companies get this, and that the value is driven through, enablers of strategy, expectations from investors, how to attract capital, how to attract talents, and so on. But basically, it comes down to understanding that sustainability today and in the future will be, it's the foundation for being a company that has a license to operate in the future, I would say.
So you see, both of you, that if you don't have integration, the sustainability of the business might not really be there in the future, or the business in itself will not be there.
Yeah,
correct.
And would you, Annika, do you agree with that as well?
Definitely. I think if you are not able to see what the future business should be, and that you have to capture all the different sustainability aspects, you're simply not going to be there, because you will see the entire society. You will have investors not interested to invest in you, customers not interested to buy your product. So, I mean, if you don't integrate sustainability here and now, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
Could you, Annika, you talked a little bit about leadership from the top, with the board, with the executive management team. I can think that there's leadership at all levels. How has this been very important? How has the tone from the top been an important part to trickle it down to all parts? I think why I often see is that there is a very key commitment at the top, but how do you integrate it all the way down the business line?
Well, I think you're absolutely correct when you say that tone from the top is going to determine both how fast we can move and how credible you become as a company. So, I mean, that's the starting point. So you need to have the tone from the CEO, the board of directors, and EGM. And then how do you get it to trickle down? It's really that the top management show in actions, sort of, that they live and deliver on the strategy. And then when the organization starts seeing that the executives and the board make decisions based on the strategy, based on the sustainability topics, that's when they sort of get the buy-in from the entire organization. I mean, if I just look at it the way it was earlier, you could have a business unit raising a topic saying that, well, short term, it's going to be too expensive to, for instance, they want to keep a fossil plant longer than we really think that it makes sense, or they want to have relationship with a supplier that does not to 100% meet our sustainability requirements, because they claim it's going to be too costly. But then when they see that the CEO step in and say, no, for us, we're willing to take a short-term cutback, maybe that we're not as profitable short-term, because we're so convinced that long-term, over the years, it's going to be much more profitable to make the sustainable choice. And it's when it became clear to the organization that we act according to that, that's when you get the buy-in. And I mean, I can bring in several examples of that, but I think it's really, you need to see that you walk the talk, that you live according to your strategies.
Well, walk the talk. We have a comment here from Marina Nart, and she is totally agreeing with you. She has posted a comment here. I think it is exactly what you've said. All the weight, responsibility shouldn't be on the head of sustainability. The board and leadership of the business needs to pave the way, enable, support.
I agree. And of course, we as specialists are the ones to both challenge and support and guide the organization to make the right choices, and also raise awareness on the different topics and choices that you can make. That's a responsibility that lays on us.
Eva, when you talk about enabling support to leadership at different levels, what would you say towards that, and how can then organizations and companies do more to get that support?
Well, I think if you turn it around and you say, if you don't have the right tone from the top, in worst case scenario, you'll have a lot of engaged, super competent employees hitting their heads against the wall over and over again, trying to convey the need for sustainability and trying to drive things that are important, but that are actually not, if they're not in line with the tone of the coming from the top, it's not gonna work. So when the ownership of these ambition comes from the top, then you can get the alignment and you can get the collaborations between different parties in the company. And I think that is so fundamental to actually drive change, because it's all about a change, because new ambitions means change. And so how you work, how you're driving the business every day, even though you have to have the long-term perspective, you have to change how you work every day. And to be able to achieve this, I think that the alignment is the key, and that is created by the tone from the top, I would say.
Well, more questions are trickling in, so I'm just gonna park my questions and go straight to the comment section. You guys in the audience, you guys are really wonderful. All these questions are pouring in, so bear with me as I manage this. We have one from Jenny R, and she says to Annika, how do you address the challenge of engaging all employees to take the sustainability mission to heart and to act?
Well, I think the journey we've been on, I would say, first of all, something that is really helping us is that we have developed a very clear purpose. The purpose is to enable fossil-free living within a generation, and that we should be powering climate smarter living, as we say. And when you have that clear guiding star, then it's been easy to engage everyone. So everyone knows now where we need to go. And then each and everyone, so we've cascaded it throughout the organization. Both a large part of the organization was part of developing the purpose. And once it's there, each and everyone have a chance to sit down in their respective teams to see, okay, how can I contribute to our purpose? What can I do in my daily work, sort of even change how I go to and from the office, or if I print papers or use things digitally, to how do I innovate the processes that we work with internally, or how do I come up with new products? All of that is really discussions that have been ongoing in the organization. So I would say it helps very much to have a clear purpose of why you do things, also clear targets to work towards. That will sort of release a lot of engagement. And I can give a number of examples, but maybe also let Eva comment on that.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. I think that we see that more and more companies' purpose or vision, I would say, have a broader perspective, which includes an understanding of the future, but also includes different kinds of stakeholders. And if you take this different kind of stakeholders into when you're actually working with your purpose and your vision, then it does connect with the purpose and it kind of blends in. And I think that more and more businesses see that if you do get this, you cannot only engage the people internal, but you can also more easily engage the other stakeholders, which could have to do with buy-ins from investors or attracting brilliant employees or something like that. So important.
Eva, I have a question. I think everyone's very interested on employee engagement. So Nicholas Niglin says, a very interesting discussion, Annika. Sustainability is a very broad topic and internal engagement is critical to success. So for both of you, actually, you've mentioned it briefly, but Eva, I start with you. What have been the best drivers for employee engagement? So do you have any examples that you've seen across your careers, what the best drivers to engage employees in very practical terms?
Well, I think that actually, I mean, when you're actually trying to reach out to new employees, just looking at the post that you're posting for what you're asking for, you can see whether the company is interested in sustainability in the long-term perspective or not. And I think that I've been working with Vattenfall up in the north and talking to all the employees there. I can see the proudness of the people working in the company, and that really is engaging. And I think for the young people today, having a clear purpose and a clear vision, which is connected, does really help. So I think Vattenfall is a beautiful example.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on some of the examples and drivers that maybe I would say, what was with the drivers, what was before and what is now? So what have you seen the biggest difference?
Okay. So I would say before there would be much more focus on the actual job description, and today there is a bigger description of the company as a whole. So you're asking people to step into a community of people thinking the same way, instead of going into a role where you're going to do your job every day.
Do you agree to that, Annika?
Yes, and I think, and at least if I look at the big difference in how we tackle things, is when you have a clear purpose and it is a little bit into the future, people tend to know, okay, this is where we need to be in a certain point of time. And earlier, a lot of people were sort of saying, okay, we need to make changes. And then they have the starting point is today. And then they say, okay, how can we incrementally sort of make tiny changes? And then when you base everything on today's assumption, the development goes very slowly. But if you instead know where you need to be in a certain point of time, and then you start backcasting, saying, okay, what do I need to do here and now? That's when you release a lot of innovative thinking, because then you cannot do the incremental changes. You need to say, okay, we just need to come up with a way to get there, and we don't know it. And I see a lot of innovative skills are released, and so many great activities and examples on what we can do have been raised by employees. So I think this is a big difference. We now know where we have to be in a certain point of time, instead of trying to predict where can we go. That is definitely a big change.
A big change.
And with this clear vision, so we have a question here from Marco Valente, and he mentors master graduates. And if you start already at that level from before they come to Vattenfall, he says, what are the skills needed for these young graduates to pursue a career within organizations? What are, in addition to what they're studying, what else should they have with them?
I think it's very much sort of they need to have communicative skills, because you need to be able to convince. And I usually say to my sustainability team that you need to remember you're not put there to sort of point fingers or tell people what to do. You need to act as a business developer. You need to be a salesperson selling the message. Why should you work with sustainability? Well, it is because that's where you have the new business opportunities. And in order to do that, of course, you then need to have communicative skills. You need to secure that you're very to the point on things. I think learning how to solve complex issues and how to understand how different system works together, that is going to be key, because solving all the sustainability challenges we have, it's nothing we can do on our own. We need to collaborate. So you also need to train on how to collaborate, listen to others, extract the key things, and then dare to think out of the box. So it's a little bit of, you need to have entrepreneurship, you need to have some digital skills and communication skills, and then be able to tackle very complex matters.
And Eva, I know you're Eva,
like a fun person.
We just need a fun person to come in.
It's not going to be enough. Fun is not going to be enough. You need to be to the point
as well.
So Eva, in addition, as I know you mentor a lot of students and young professionals as well. So in addition to them being fun, what else would you recommend to them?
I think since this is all about the future, I think that the curiosity of continuing, not to get stuck where you are, to really dare to keep on going into the future, because we're going there either we want it or not, I would say. So yeah, let's do the best with the future. And I think you need the curiosity to kind of find new solutions and talk to new people and look at it from a different way to be able to do it.
And I think the fact that you're saying look at it a different way, I have a question here from Nordsip, and the great thing is that everyone's very interested in the engagement part on the whole integration. And here Nordsip is asking, can you tell us what sustainability-driven change has resulted from engagement with investors? A totally different group then from the students most recently. So Annika, do you have an example or an engagement that you can share?
Well, I can at least just comment. I mean, I've now been head of sustainability for 6 years, and 6 years back, I was very rarely asked to go along with our treasury department or investor relations. But these days, I'm part of a lot of the roadshows and things when we talk to investors, because they have now realized that you need to understand the company's sustainability agenda, because if they don't have it there, they are not going to be the ones that you long-term want to invest with. So I think that's the clearest thing I see. And if I looked at 6 years back, the questions from the investor community was very much sort of, they had a checklist and asked questions that was not relevant for us to even be working with. And nowadays, they do understand what are the key topics that Vattenfall should work with. So I think that's one thing. But I would like to get one example also, just showing the shift, and when you have a clear purpose, how that can release things. Because 5 years back in Vattenfall, we looked, or I wanted us to apply for a science-based target. And in those times, then turning to the organization, they had the mindset of sort of looking incrementally, and they said, there is no way that we're ever going to be close to 2-degree target, because it's going to be too expensive for the customers. There are no fuels available, etc. But then by just having the clear purpose coming in, doing backcasting, 2 years later, we had an approved science-based target of 2 degrees. And now we are pursuing the 1.5-degree target. And it's almost a competition on how can we come up with new technologies? How can we find excess heat from data centers that we can put into our district heating network instead of using fuels, and really trying to find a lot of different solutions. So it's not one solution, but you look at an abundance of different things and different options. So again, I mean, this backcasting, if we want to say something also to students, understanding how to manage backcasting and as a means of solving topics, I think is also very important.
Eva, you talk a lot about this leap, these science-based targets, so these targets that seem really far away, and seem a little bit like, oh, it's so far away, we're never going to reach them. But you talk about what happens in between, the journey there. Can you elaborate a little bit how this goes back to Annika's word, how this helps with the shift?
Yeah, I think I'm not quite sure where you're moving, but I think I am very keen on having the big long-term perspective targets, because that's where I think what you need to understand is that the targets that you need to do and work with are not the targets where you're almost there. I think what you need to get companies to understand is that if you want to work towards the future, you need to tackle those big targets where you don't have the answer today, and you need to dare to do that. And I think the backcasting description is really good, but I think a lot of companies too much are afraid of kind of going beyond what they understand today. And that's why they have a problem in actually setting those targets that actually will take that change that is needed to be able to really become sustainable. But you need both, because you need to tackle the short-term targets as well, so that you know that you're on the right track, of course.
Well, we're soon wrapping up our very quick lunch session here. And I'm sure there are more questions trickling in, and hopefully we can take the time to answer them offline. I did want one last question, as this is very much about how it takes shape and sustainability integration. Eva, as you're the last one speaking before I go to Annika, what would you say the last words would be to the audience here today?
From me or from?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So just dare to look into the future.
Dare to look in the
fun.
future.
It will be fun.
Dare to look in the future from Eva and Annika.
Well, first of all, I mean, if you still are in a company that has a separate process and separate targets for sustainability, go and take the discussion with the CEO or the board to change that, so that you can throw that one out and ensure that it's truly integrated. That's the first thing. And then I want to stick out my neck a bit and say, if you're a sustainability specialist and manager, you need to dare to let go and not be in charge of things. You need to start being what I said earlier, be the coach, take the organization by the hand, show with good examples what you can do, be this salesperson so that you help to develop the business. And then, I mean, I think some of the very key things is that we talked about, dare to challenge, dare to set those long-term goals, and don't be afraid of working together, both internally and externally, because I think you both learn quicker and you can push the sustainability bar both quicker and higher by collaborating and daring to challenge. And you're going to see that it's so much fun, and you will find the future business opportunities there.
I love the word dare, and it's so great because we have a comment from Marina here. She says we need brave transformational leaders, and I think we can all be leaders at different levels, and we can dare and we can act and just go out there and, as you say, just be out there and be the coach, be the guidance, be the leader, and all those words that you have mentioned. I really want to say thank you so much to both of you, Eva and Annika. It's been a quick lunch session, but that's the whole point of this. And I hope it has helped inspire and aspire others to do more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone that has been joining.
Thank you. Have a lovely rest of day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.